Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Friday edition of the Leadership Insight podcast brought to you by Evans Leadership Insight Group. And today we have a special guest, and this is Jen from Madam Pearl's Dance Hall and Saloon
Hi, guys.
and the historic Fort Worth Stockyards. So we're just going to get started here in a minute. Um, so one of the things that I love, you guys have, and we'll talk more about it, but I know you guys have rebranded. Um, and as somebody who enjoys country dancing, um, you have you have the Rhinestone Saloon, you have all these Little Red's, Longhorn Saloon, and in different places, and you've branded yourself as a dance hall first. And I think talking to people I know that dance and enjoy going out in the stockyards, it is definitely noticed that you guys really put the dance hall part first. Not that the saloon part has anything that's lacking, but you do put a great effort into getting great music and and just having a great facility for people who like to dance. So just as a dancer, before as we get started, I just wanted to say thank you for that because I do appreciate that. So just tell us a little bit about not just pearls, but kind of your background and history and running small businesses and things like that. And then I'll probably break in through our conversation, and we're just going to talk about whatever we talk about today.
Okay. Well, first, I have to say that a big part of the dance hall vibe that we have is because of the Fort Worth Wranglers and Ronson, who leads them, because they teach about the culture of dance hall, and they don't just teach at their lessons the steps, but they teach about etiquette and history and culture. And so that's greatly made us into a dance hall. You can put that name in you can put that word in your name, but it doesn't make you a dance hall. So, I mean, Rick and I dance, but we're not really dancers. So they say it's the best uh, dance floor in the stockyards. That's what the dancers say.
It is, yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Fort Worth has, we are blessed for people that are watching this that are not in Fort Worth. We're blessed with great venues,
Great music.
such a concentration of great music, and so it is a pretty cool place. Whether you're a casual dancer or a serious dancer, it's always nice to go someplace where you can dance to whatever level you dance to. A lot of places, we're not going to name names, but there's places that are known as they want to be known as the oldest dance hall or the biggest this or that, and you go to watch a concert there, and there's 300 kids standing on the floor in front of the stage, and you can't dance like one,
Right.
and so um,
It's a cool, I don't want to say industry, a cool culture, a cool society to be a part of, because a lot of touristy areas are huge draws for tourists, but locals stay away. But the Stockyards is different. It's everyone loves it, whether you've been there 1,000 times or you've never been there. It keeps drawing you back, you know. And I think it's that culture, that Texas country music and red dirt, that's just
very
special to anything else in the U.S.
very much.
Um, but I turned 50 this year,
Yeah.
so I've got a lot. I've done a lot. Um, I went to college, got married, had babies, did the whole traditional thing. Rick and I have a construction company that is really his company, but I do all the busy work, all the detail work he doesn't want to do. Um, we've owned that. We still own that. I still technically have a bakery, a home bakery, a custom bakery that I don't have time for anymore. Um, I got into this industry because I got into the entertainment industry, doing special events for corporations, big money birthdays for, society people, private parties, and the opportunity for Pearls came about, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were like, I hadn't bartended in 30 years. That's about my experience in a bar, but it's definitely become a calling for us to support local artists, to support the dancers and the culture. And growing up as a rodeo daughter of my dad and growing up in that culture in a farm in Oklahoma, because I ride the line. I love Oklahoma and Texas. Everybody else chooses. I will not choose. I got one foot on either side. But the timing was interesting because my dad passed in February of 2023, and we bought it in March of 2023,
Okay.
and so I feel my dad there all the time.
That is awesome.
So
So let's talk about the some of the early small businesses. So
mhm.
because one of the things we focus on here, in our podcast is we like to talk about leadership and leadership challenges. And so I would imagine that both high-end corporate and celebrity events and weddings, um, to be successful in that, you have to have some really good people skills and leadership skills. Um, and it's not what people would expect. People expect if you're in, like at Pearls, you're the
Mhm.
owner, so you're definitely in a leadership position. And I always say leadership is a skill, not a position.
Mhm.
Um, but if you're dealing with either, you know, uh, I'm sure you probably in your day had a bridezilla or two come through, and
Oh yeah.
how, or mothers of the brides, whatever. That's a big, that's a big event, high emotion, high expectations, and so how do can you think of any kind of, we don't name names on the bad stuff,
Yeah.
but can you think of anybody there that you really had to kind of manage them through their, um,
I've been pretty blessed with clients not having issues. I've had issues with some of the vendors or the artists I've brought in. I think the thing that you have to remember when you're doing special events, whether you're a vendor, whether you're the coordinator, whether if the event's not your event, it's not about you. And so it's kind of like being a referee in a football game. It's personal to the coach, it's personal to the quarterback, right?
right?
It's personal to the opposing team. It's not personal to you. It's a job. So when there are heightened emotions, you have to you the only people that are kind of allowed to do that are the clients because it's important to them. So I have been, I mean, I've had in the bakery, I've had some um, that it's little things. I've never been in a big situation where I've had a difficult client, thank God. Knock on some wood. There's some wood. Because it'll happen as soon as I say that. But we've been really, it's the same with the bar. It helps support the idea that it's a calling because I know it's a bar. And, first and foremost, because we're Christians,
Right.
and but there's so much fellowship that goes on in that bar. It's unbelievable, you know. Um,
And I think on that, just a little rabbit trail there for a second. People are like, oh, how can you be a good Christian and own a bar or go to a bar or dance or whatever? And it's
mhm,
like, it's if it gets anything that gets between you and God is an issue, and if it doesn't, and it's like, hey, this is our business, and we're able to fellowship with people, we're able to minister to people. I mean, it goes back to Jesus hung out with tax collectors
mhm,
and revolutionaries and not the church people.
right.
So there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with having your business be your calling, because the other thing the
Mhm,
Bible tells us is that the work we do isn't for ourselves, isn't for, if we work for somebody, isn't for somebody else. We work as we work unto the Lord. So
mhm,
if you're out there and you're being honest and um, you have ethics, which you
mhm,
guys do. I mean, but if that's how you run your business um, on a daily basis, that's modeling Christian behavior.
mhm.
So I mean, how many people say they're Christians and are some of the worst people?
Right.
That
Yeah.
they're Christians on Sunday, but then Monday they're trying to cheat you out every dime they can do it, and that's I've been blessed to really meet probably a little bit later with you and Rick, but with some of the original partners in Pearls, I think we
Mhm.
were lucky enough to kind of be meet you guys right from the beginning
Yeah.
and see how you do business and see how you treat people and just watch this. It's a great rise, and we failed to mention that you know, one of the reasons Pearls is such a great dance hall, it was also recognized as the Texas Regional Radio Venue of the Year for 2024?
2025.
2025.
It was
Okay.
just in March.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was, like,
Yeah.
I knew
Oh,
I knew,
well, I guess it is.
you
Yeah, I
know,
guess it's for 2024. Yes, sir.
so
But and then we're nominated for the Texas Country Music Association Awards on November 8th for Venue of the Year.
awesome.
We're a dark horse, but we're there.
Well, I mean,
We're in the running.
if we're going to be honest, I would say, and again, nothing. I love you guys. You were probably a dark horse for the regional radio. I mean, you were up against some really big
Yeah.
venues.
Shep's Barbecue, Green Hall,
Green Hall,
Billy Bob's, Texas Live.
Yeah.
It was. I'm still not sure how all that happened. That was. I didn't remember anything I said. I mean, I came off and I said, "Did I say anything wrong? Did I embarrass myself?"
No,
And they were like, "No," because it all went right out of my head.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, it really is. Like I said, we were able to be there and see that as part of
That
that
was
too.
the
that
best
was
night.
that was
Yeah, I'm
that
so
was
glad
awesome.
y'all were there.
So let's talk about challenges of running a business in the entertainment district. I'm sure that takes I'm sure that takes a lot. I know you guys again great business, but there's always things you face. There's competition, in the stockyards. There's literally a bar on every corner. Then you have state regulations, city regulations, all these things that play into to really kind of weighing you down as you're trying to become a successful business. And so, and that doesn't even get to the point when you're talking about vendors and artists and staffing. So just kind of let's walk through some.
It's twice as hard to run an entertainment business like a bar, dance hall, venue when you're doing it like honestly and with integrity. It really is. I mean, I understand why so many people get into hairy situations because it's tough. There's a million hands in the cookie jar before it gets to you, with state and city and regulations and fees and funds and then you've got your licensing, and that's an arm and a leg. So right off the bat, you're trying to figure out. I remember always thinking like $7 for a Coors Light. Now I get it because like half of it's gone as soon as you collect it.
You're like, man, $7 for a Coors Light, and I make $1.25 off
Yeah.
of it. For me, that's
Yep, exactly. It's a juggling game. There's a lot of little fires all the time. If you're blessed and you have a good staff and a good management team like we do, that we all work together really well, you don't have a lot of big fires, but there's just so many little ones. And as somebody who has a pretty good memory and I don't tend to like things don't fall through the cracks, it's been a learning curve because things do. I've double booked. I've uh, lost people. I mean, I lost my band on Saturday at 3 p.m. Due to illness, and there's nothing you can do. It's nobody's fault. I'm blessed with. I believe when you put good out and you're supportive of other people, it comes back to you. And I've had a lot of that with you guys. I mean, you guys have been unbelievably supportive as friends and as partners with Brothers Keepers. Um, the talent buyers and the booking agents and the management people that I deal with and the artists I deal with, we've just been really blessed. Um, you have to trust your people. You're never going to go to the next level if you don't learn to delegate and learn to trust somebody else, like a very valuable person, which everyone knows is Chris. Like, as our bar manager, like, he's a linchpin for us. It takes so much off of me so I can focus on other things, focus on events, focus on the creative end, focus on marketing when I don't have to worry about any of that. He handles all of it. So I think it's important to have the right people around you for all the things that you need done and to have crossover. So I can do everything Rick can do aside from like lift heavy things, and he can do everything I can do. And Chris is learning sound, and we're all crossing over so that we can cover everything. Because that's the other thing that's interesting about us is we don't have this huge staff like some of the bars do down there. We're a very small staff, and Rick and I are, I think, too, and Eric when he can be there because he's got a full time job as well. When we can, when one of us is always on site, that's rare down there. Most owners aren't on site, and it's something people comment about all the time. We run it like a very small business, even though we're in this like Shark Tank of.
Yeah, and I think that's important to do, and probably why you've become as successful as you have, as quickly as you have, is that you guys are focused on it. And it's like if you're as leaders, your staff only has, they have a short bandwidth, and so they focus on what the boss focuses on.
Hmm.
And so if you're not there to, when something comes up and go, we need to fix that, they're not going to know because it's not theirs. And it's not that, it's they don't have, you guys have that pride of ownership. It's your responsibility. That also the success of, the success of the bar is not only important for you and your family, but it lets you employ people. It lets
Hmm.
you bring in bands and give people an opportunity, that they probably normally wouldn't.
And I see it that way. It's interesting because we have other businesses. So I feel a lot more pressure to do well and to be successful for our artists and our partners, like Velvet Fox. If we weren't there, they wouldn't have a storefront because they're inside our building. So it's ironic because I always feel more responsibility to keep the train going for the artist and the partners and the employees and the patrons more than we do ourselves in a way. Although Rick and I are huge fans, and I think that translates to how we run it because it's not just a business to like pay bills for us. It's very personal to
Well,
us.
as you keep saying, it is a calling, because you love the music. You become invested in the people that have been there.
Mhm.
I mean, that's that's it, servant leadership in its finest moment. I mean, it's when you put the needs of your employees, you put your vendor, and for you, it's even a bigger thing because it's not just Chris and the bar staff that's there, on the weekend, when the bar's open, but it's your musicians that come in, and those, they're, for those 3 or 4 hours that they're there, they're your people, they're your
Right.
employees, so you want to do well by them. You want them, to have success.
Even outside of Pearls. It's like, Rowdy. He was the first person that ever played on our
I
stage.
know.
And so we watch everything he does and we cheer him on through every single thing he does. And he's also the same age as my oldest kid. So he's like my kid.
Yeah.
I like care about everything going on with him. And yeah, it's personal to us, and I think sometimes some people may see that as a detriment. Like maybe we could be bigger or be louder if we did this or that, but this is how we want to do it. And this is what matters to us.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, again, that just goes back to, you can go, if you put, profits, or if you put things in front of people, you can grow quickly, or maybe would grow more quickly. But at the end of the day, um, you get, there's, and you probably know this in any, it's in any, any industry or in any town, but there, people come play for you, um, when they could probably play at any other bar that same night. And I would say sometimes maybe even for more money or a bigger percentage at the door or whatever, because they know that you're not going to screw them. They know that if you're doing a percentage at the door, they don't have to bring somebody to set at the door
To
and
make sure it's done right.
count, because you're not going to say, uh, 1,000 people came in when 2,000 people came
Right.
in. And there are places that are known, that, and some artists, they just don't have a choice. They're like,
Mhm.
we want to play. We know we're probably getting, hoodwinked a little bit, but we want to play.
Mhm.
We need a job. We've all been in positions where you took a job where it's like, I don't have any other choice, and I like to eat and I like to pay my bills. So, but you guys, they know, hey, if we come here, whatever we've agreed on that they're going to pay us, they're going to pay us. And if there's a percentage, they're going to pay the percentage. And if they're not gonna screw us over.
Yeah, and then the flip side of that, we're a very small venue for being like well known. I mean, our max capacity is 224. That's half of Rhinestone. It's less than Rodeo, which are the closest to us. We're a tiny venue in a way. So there are times that we're kind of priced out on certain artists, because there's only so much we know is going to come through the door.
Right.
And they'll take less because they want to play at Pearls. And that's not me or Rick. It's the draw. It's Marie too. It's what Marie did it with that place when she bought it in 2000, and to 2016, and bringing Western swing and bringing dancehall vibes back, and so people, it does help that it's a little iconic because they want to play.
I mean, it even goes beyond that. Pearls was built in what, 1909, something
Yeah,
like
something.
that.
Yeah,
By Buffalo Bill Cody.
Mhm.
It was funny. A couple weeks ago, I was at a conference at the National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington,
Mhm.
and there was Buffalo Bill Cody had been a scout for the Army. He wasn't in the Army, and he won the Medal of Honor.
Oh wow.
But because he wasn't, and I don't remember.
He wasn't enlisted.
But he wasn't an actual member of the Army, so they had a review, like every so often they'll do a review of the Medal of Honor and make sure that everybody was qualified, or sometimes they find people that didn't receive the Medal of Honor that should, and they'll correct those mistakes. So at one point in time, they stripped it from him, and like I said, I don't remember now if they gave it back to him, but I was like, I kind of chuckled when I was looking at that. I was like, well, I wonder if they know that he had a bar 2 mile, 5 miles from where we're standing right now.
Right. Yeah. He did that all over the U.S. Apparently, he was a little builder. He was a little, developer that I don't think a lot of people are aware of.
I did. I mean, I knew the history of the stockyards, but I mean, I guess it makes sense because he had the Traveling Wild West show.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you go into, these towns and build a bar or build an establishment that when you come back through, you have a place, but
Mm-hmm.
it's connected to your name, and he was famous, and so people were going to come there just because it was his place.
And that's actually where the original Pearls comes from, because Pearl Davis bought it from him in 1914, and so that's where the Pearls comes from. And it just, we keep going back to that. It's been other things, but I mean, it was Big Balls of Cowtown.
Right.
Johnny Bush wrote Green Snakes on the Ceiling in there, which has been confirmed. I would always say, I've
Rowdy
heard
Decker.
it. Yeah. Well, no, Rowdy didn't believe me.
I know, that's what I was saying, Rowdy Decker.
Rowdy, this is for you. No, it was confirmed by Del Watson and Alan Hurt that Johnny Bush did write that in Pearls.
That's just,
which is just wild to me.
It's awesome. It's how awesome is that to own that piece of that much history, and then of course own
1883.
1883 was the White Elephant scenes that were in the show were all filmed
That
there
was
at
actually
Pearl.
us, yeah.
Yeah, we're all filmed within Pearls.
It's so funny when tourists come in and they're like, no. And I'm like, have you been to the White Elephant yet? And they're like, we're on our way. And I'm like, you'll see what we mean. And when I explained to them that the original Hell's Half Acre was actually in downtown Fort Worth and the original White Elephant was downtown, it makes a lot more sense to them why they filmed it in our building. But people don't ever understand. Yeah. But it was very cool.
Yeah. And the history of Fort Worth and the stockyards, and just Fort Worth is the the gateway to the west, if you will. It's pretty interesting when you go to different places, and it's like,
and it just keeps creating history because of Texas Red Dirt Country, like new things that 20 years from now, people will be talking about when Rowdy was playing at Pearls, when Rowdy Decker was playing at Pearls. It'll be that way. It just continues to create these iconic historical moments, which is what the stockyards are a special place for me.
They are. I mean, talking about the White Elephant, Cody Jinks was bartender there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like, if you're into the Red Dirt and you're into Texas music, that means something. You know, most people go to the White Elephant now because they're looking for the
Yeah.
1883, and they don't realize that even though that's not where it was filmed, it's not the historical White Elephant either. There's still a lot of history there.
There's history. Oh, I mean, the hats. There's more history on their walls than in all of the stockyards in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, just to spend the day looking at all those. It's just a very cool place, for sure.
And we are very blessed to be here.
And to be in Texas.
And to be in Texas, but to be in the Fort Worth area, it's definitely, like I said, to have that piece of history, just to be able to go there and the see the cattle drive, see all that stuff that people, you can't.
It's still cool. We've been watching it for 30 years, and it's still cool.
And you can't explain it to people outside of even different places in Texas. They just, I don't think they get it the way the way this area does, and it's pretty cool. So we're blessed. We're blessed to have you guys as friends and as the business. What's next with? I mean, we're going to continue talking, but what's next on the Pearls front?
I mean, sometimes I think long term, but there's so many things always going on. I mean, we've got a big event in a couple of weeks with Brothers Keepers, which you're a part of as well. We've just constantly have events coming up. We're looking into expanding outside and adding like an awning and adding tables, and just continuing to fine tune and bring in new partners. I mean, we're doing all the things. It's a lot. I mean, we've got karaoke, we've got live music, we've got open mics. We just keep trying to add. We've got a new open mic concept that's very cool. It's open mic. You come in with your guitar. You can play whatever you want, originals, but there's a full band backing you. It's called BYOG, Bring Your Own Guitar. And we've had like 3 of them, and they've been like unreal, the response.
Yeah.
They love to come up and they're like, well, it's an original. And I'm like, they'll pick it up. And they do. And to have your original,
with a full band.
this sweet little girl came in, and, you can tell she's new. I mean, everybody starts in the beginning, right? And she got up and they picked up her original, and you could tell it was like a surreal moment for her. But I would really love to do more events with the stockyards. Even if it was just the west end of the stockyards, I would love to do music festivals, bar crawls, bingo crawls. It can be a little hard to get some of the other. I think we all kind of live in a semi-crisis mode because you're trying to get people in the doors and you're trying to keep people entertained and give a good product. But it always comes back to me that you collab at the top and you compete at the bottom. So I'm pushing for that.
And that's a great, great leadership there too, is, a rising tide raises all ships. And if we've watched over the years, as the stockyards, down Mule Alley and the new area has gotten very, very touristy, very popular. And so it's harder for those businesses that are up in our vernacular. We always say we're going up the hill. Pearl sits at the top of the hill, and Exchange is
you can see all the way down to the other end of Exchange when you're by Pearls.
Yes. And so, so going up the hill is where more of the locals are, and more of the real classic Fort Worth feel is.
It's also where all the cowboys are after the rodeos. If you got to come to the west side of Exchange.
Yes.
If you want to find the cowboys. For all you girls.
And the cowgirls.
And the cowgirls are there too.
And so, it's like, what can you guys do? Because the issue, I guess getting into probably the not as fun side of it, is the issue is, as the east side, down the hill, down by the Coliseum, that area grows, and all these high-end places come in. Tim Love's got 4 restaurants down there, and you're not getting a dinner there for probably less than $50 a person. As that comes in, it prices some of the locals out, so they're not going to go down there. But then, as that area grows, it's going to start encroaching it already kind of has. They've
Mm-hmm.
seen some boutiques and stuff go in up the hill on the west side of the
Exchange. Yeah.
exchange, and so if you don't work together, you're going to get you're going to get priced out because the rents are going to go up, the taxes. I mean, just
Everything.
everything is going to keep going up
We're
and up.
we're we're stronger together.
And
You know.
so it's like there's, I've noticed that Fort Worth has always been a destination for tourists.
Just this area.
It's
I mean,
true,
you can hit Arlington and all the sports teams. You can hit Dallas and some of their culture. You can hit Fort Worth and the obvious amazing culture in Fort Worth. There's a lot to do here.
but I can remember being there before Pearls at the Longhorn on like a Wednesday night. They have live music, and you'd run into people that were from England and
Mm-hmm.
Germany and Japan. And
Australia, we get a
yeah,
lot of Australians.
and they just, like they were on, and this was before Mule Alley. They would just come, and now you see, um, like the Stockyards is a destination for weddings and like bachelorette parties more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we really see a lot of bachelor parties, guys groups come through there, but you see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bachelorette parties come through, and like they're flying in from
All over.
all over the country. It's not like it's
Mm-hmm.
just local or Texas. I mean, they're flying in from New York and,
Well, they've created a really interesting entertainment ecosystem because there's some amazing. If you've never been down there, the Stockyards area is a great area. It's kind of in the middle of a not fantastic area. But there are a lot of amazing Airbnbs that have been renovated down there that people can rent with all the restaurants. I mean, you can come down there and you can walk everywhere for 4 days and not do everything and never leave the area, and it has become a tourist spot. I think that the irony about when they develop and they make all these expensive, beautiful new things that are shiny and everybody loves them. But I know as a tourist, and you can probably relate to this, we also want to know where the good local spots are.
oh yeah,
I mean, everybody, if you like to travel, you're like, where do the locals hang out? Where do the locals go eat? Because it's going to be priced better and probably taste better than what you get in the touristy area. Um, I think that's going to be a hard. That thing about the stockyards, there's so much history there that to try to balance those things and not take away the history and not take away the novelty of the realism of like the west side of Exchange while also developing it, because there are things on our end that need to be developed. That
oh yeah,
church needs to be torn down.
yeah.
There's areas that are just empty lots that could be boutique hotels and things, and I know there's a lot of that happening right now. It's weird because you get excited about it because the more energy that's down on our end, the more people that come. And I always joke and say, I'll take the Pepsi challenge with my product against any other like venue. I know that we put out a good product. I know we're good. We have great customer service. We introduce ourselves. We remember people's names. Sometimes it's the traffic to get, because there's so much shiny and new down there. They don't venture. They did just put up. We have a Stockyard sign like at Main and Exchange. They
Oh,
just put that up by Hooker's Burgers.
oh, awesome.
They're
Yeah,
finishing that. It's going to say where the West begins and the Fort Worth Stockyards.
that's awesome. And
So I think that'll be helpful too.
yeah, I think so going back to really collaborating um, with those other businesses, um, they're there. It's like you're holding. You said what? You're 220 for your
224.
224 for
Mm-hmm.
your capacity. So you know if you have if you're and I know you guys are open to it, but if some of those other venues were open to, I don't know, a wristband that got you either
Mm-hmm.
a discount at all whoever was or whatever, however that would work. But man, there's people that are milling around between those three or four bars up there, that you can bounce back and forth. But it's if you go to some of those bars there, you're paying a cover charge here, you're paying a cover charge there. By the time you get to just the local bars up there,
You've
you
spent $50 in cover
50,
charges.
yeah, 50 or $100 in cover charges, and it's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
So if you did something that
Like
encouraged,
some kind of group ticket.
yeah,
We've talked about that. Yeah.
if you that encourages people to kind of bounce back and forth, because then as people leave, new people can come in, and that may be tourists that are going to spend a $20 on a cover charge, drink 2 drinks, and then go to the next
And I
bar.
see it all the time.
And so there's kind of two. I think there's two things that you guys look at is, okay, so how can we keep, whether it's expanding some stuff outside or doing things outside that allows the people that want to come in, when Rowdy Decker's there,
It's max capacity.
you are at max capacity, and
We had Matt Daniel about a month ago. He wasn't Matt. I mean, he was pretty close.
and those people aren't leaving. Like when people come to see Rowdy,
People flew in for Matt because Matt's a West Texas cowboy. He doesn't do a lot of concerts.
awesome.
He had people coming from all over that knew him because they never get a chance to see him. But Rowdy is like he packs my place. Like I have to plan for that. To bring
and they don't,
chairs.
and for the most part, they don't leave.
They do not leave.
Yeah. The hardcore Rowdy fans were known as the Rowdy crowd.
That's why we usually bring food in, because everybody's hungry, but nobody wants to go anywhere.
But nobody's going to leave because they don't want to
lose their seat.
They don't want to lose their seat or go grab something to eat and later and then come back and there's a line out the door and you're like, we're full.
Or they miss Blue Collar, or they miss Dancing Boots, which is my favorite. Off the Wagon.
Off the Wagon, that's a great one.
Yeah, they're all great.
They are. He is very very talented.
We're fans. Can y'all tell?
Yeah, we're friends, fans, family. That's everybody. It was great to have him sit down and talk with us and just, and then he's going to be back for your birthday, right?
He's not coming for birthday. He's coming on the 24th of January. I think he was booked on the 17th.
Okay.
But he'll be there on the 24th, and he'll be there on the 8th on the outdoor stage as well.
He'll be there for the Brothers Keepers Wild West Casino Fest fundraiser for a great veterans organization. I am part of it. I'm on the board. I'm vice president now, but it'll be fun.
It's a good time.
I got to get you hooked up with talking about great organizations. There's an organization called Guitars for Vets, and I just cooked in with them a couple weeks ago. They were looking for space, and they need to be able to get in and have a room to do. So what they do is they do 10-week program for veterans, and it's guitar lessons.
Oh, nice.
One-on-one, not a group. They do it, and then at the end of 10 weeks, when you graduate the program, if you need one, they give you a guitar stand, gig bag.
I would love to get connected with them.
And so about once a quarter, they try to do a jam session where they bring in all the past graduates. And so they're growing the Fort Worth chapters. Brian is going to start teaching at the Park County Cowboy Church. He's got some people that are going to come in there. But I thought those guys would really, some of those folks, as we grow, they would be.
I would love to do a jam session.
Do a jam session, or some of those I bet you would love your.
The open mic.
Bring your own guitar.
Yeah. I'd love to let them know about that. Right now we're doing it on the first and third Thursdays every month. But we have that competition for the opener for Rowdy, for the event, for the Brothers Keepers event. So that's happening every Thursday right now. But it'll start back up on November 20th. It's really exciting, especially for a younger artist. It's surprising how many artists I have that get up and get a paid gig to do a solo, but they've never played with a band. And they're excellent, but they just don't have the opportunity. Or they don't know where where do I find a drummer? Where do I find a bassist?
Well, and I think also part of that is it's a great opportunity for people to grow and decide if they want to do a full band.
You just gave me a great idea, actually. Oh. To do like mixers for artists to meet each other. Because they're always like, I can't tell you how many artists right now are like, yeah, I've got a band together, I'm looking for a bassist. Or I've got a band together, but I'm looking for a drummer. Or I'm a drummer, but I'm looking for a band to play with. Maybe I need to connect all those people.
I would say, that would be a great, I don't know if you guys do like a, service industry night or something like that, but that would be.
On Thursdays, usually, yeah.
Thursdays or I was going to say maybe like a Sunday.
I think Sundays would be good.
for the artists, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them play gigs
Mm-hmm.
Thursday
Or
through.
even opening a Tuesday. Like I'm thinking about going like opening Tuesdays as we get busier into the fall, into the winter, and into the rodeo season and stock show
Right.
season because, and that was something I was going to say earlier when we talk about like collabing at the top. When before the Drover, before 1883 in Yellowstone, there were about 4 million visitors a year to the stockyards, just to give you some demographics. Now we have over 8 million a year. So the people are there.
Yeah.
Like if your traffic doubles, the people are there, you know. You just have to find ways to make them aware we exist, you know.
Right. Because I mean, for you guys, like I said, up the hill, because even uh, I mean, you there's a couple bars that are right there at Main and Exchange, but
Or just closer down. I feel like it's kind of like Ellis, you know, where Rhinestone is.
right.
People sometimes don't walk past that.
Well, because you got so you have Ryan's. So as you
Rhinestone
come
and
up, you
Cadillac's
have
right there.
Cadillac, you have Reds, you have the Basement Bar, you have Filthies and the Armadillo. So you have those bars that you can kind of see.
It's dense right there.
It's
So
pretty dense,
yeah.
and so it's like, how do you get them, from Cadillac, Rhinestone, and Longhorn?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a little gap.
Yes.
There's no bars
Nothing
there.
right there.
I mean, you kind of have the brand room, and they sometimes they have music there,
Live music.
but you kind of have to go up the next almost that whole block before
Right.
you get to Rodeo and to y'all, and
Mm-hmm.
now there's a place going in across from you, and there's
Yeah, it's gonna be called Boatman's. It's gonna be like a redneck yacht club. They're gonna have live music, a bar. I thought there was gonna be food and there's not. But it's still the concept's really cool. And they reopened Hell's Half Acre, the same people. And that it looks very cool. It's very throwback. They've got like all the old like bar type owners. Like they've done a mural on the back of the building. They've got picnic tables and an outdoor stage. Like there are a lot of things happening on the West End that are really great. I just hope that we can hold on to the history because I don't feel like history's been lost on the East Side. They didn't tear anything down to build the new stuff. They just added. But that's the biggest concern that everyone has
oh no, that's
is like losing the history because my parents went down there when I was a kid. My grandparents visited. It's
yeah, it's like funny. We've talked about this. We have friends of ours that we go to church with, and they met. Well, they didn't. They met at White Elephant, but they ended up, it was back when it was Big Balls in Cowtown.
the 80s, great 80s.
Best story of meeting ever is they walked up. She had hung out at Big Balls, and so when she walked in, somebody knew her, grabbed her, and took her out on the dance floor. And he went over and sat at the bar, and she danced a couple dances, and so he was sitting at the bar and figured, well, his shot was over, so some little
Some
blonde
other dude came along.
some little blonde cowgirl came over and started talking to him, and he's like, well, shoot, I'll have a drink talk with her. And she came off the dance floor and walked up to him and said, honey, do you think we should go call and check on the kids? And he looked at her and he said, yes, ma'am, I think we should. And they've been together ever since.
I love that.
That is, so that's just, that kind of history is just people from this
It's like
area.
a community.
It's a family. It really is.
And the OG, the regulars, the locals, like everybody, we all know them down there, and everybody knows them at the bars, and we all know each other, and yeah, that's one of the things that impressed me first coming in after not really being down in the stockyards for a long time. I mean, Rick and I would go for concerts occasionally, but like we didn't just go and like walk the yards and hang out. We were raising kids and doing all the things, and is the community is really it's really special down there, and the regulars that come out at least once a week to something out there always stop by and say hi. Always ask how you're doing, ask how your kids are. It's an amazing community,
It is.
truly.
So, So just more events and trying to tie in nothing.
Yeah, and looking into bigger artists and ticketed events, it's been something that I have been nervous about because we're such a small venue, but I've been surprised by some bigger artists that are like, I really want to work something out. I really want to play Pearls. I really want to come in and do something, and maybe it's scaled down, or maybe it's a shorter, a shorter concert.
Well,
But
because Pearls is so iconic, and so the thing, I mean, the other thing you get with Pearls, because it is small, um, you can almost do on somebody like that. You can do something really kind of boutique where,
mm-hmm,
I mean, pick anybody, but say Aaron Watson or Cody Jinks or
mm-hmm,
Cody Johnson, any of the bigger name Texas guys. I mean, we went to a we went to an auction a couple months ago, charity event, and we saw Shenandoah,
mm-hmm,
and that room wasn't much bigger than Pearls, and I
mm-hmm.
mean they were right on the floor. You could, I mean, it was funny as you're dancing around, people would dance over to them, and they're playing, and they just dance right up next to them, take a selfie,
And then keep going.
and then just keep right on dancing. So I mean, to be able to say you've seen, uh, whoever in that small of a
Mm-hmm.
venue, is just, and people pay for it. I mean, it's not going to be that's I mean, what Billy Bob's is a big venue, and if you're getting seat tickets, you're looking at probably $60
Mm-hmm.
at least a person, and you're in there with a couple thousand people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at Pearls, and getting somebody of that caliber, uh, man, people are going to pay 200
Well,
or
that,
better.
or just even if you did a ticket for 60 or 75 like they would do at a Dickies arena, you're paying the same price as you would pay for a nosebleed seat, because they can get into the $200 or $300, to go see someone at Dickies.
Oh yeah,
And there's not a bad seat in Pearls. It's kind of like being at House of Blues. There's not a bad seat in that whole
yeah.
place, because is the beauty of being a small venue. If And I see them come in, like I've seen people come in that follow the bands because they want to come into to a smaller venue. And because we do have some names that people get surprised by, because again, it's the iconic, like I think I'm probably the smallest venue that Rowdy does a full out band at.
Yeah.
But if I call Rowdy and say I need you to come play, he's like, okay, if I'm open, I'll be there. I think that there is a draw to that, and you can, I mean, yeah, you're maxed out at 224, but even at a $50 ticket, on a scaled back performance, or an acoustic performance, which people love from their favorite artist. They
Or
love something different from what they do on a big stage. It's
yeah,
definitely doable.
it is, and it's a great concept. I know, Josh Ward. We've seen him do a couple deals where he's done.
I think he's playing Hoots tomorrow night, actually. I might be wrong.
Actually, I think he's playing Granbury.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that? I think that's.
Might have been last weekend. They roll together for me sometimes.
Yeah, there's so many. Again, there's so many venues just in this. If just looking at the stockyards is one, or Fort Worth proper, but then you go out and go to Granbury or Weatherford or any of these
Hmm.
towns. There's three or four venues that it's like
Great venues.
great music rooms. But yeah, I think he did an acoustic show someplace. Maybe it was Granbury Live.
Hmm.
And
That's a
most
great little venue,
that
too.
is too. That um, that happened him do something like that in the stockyards. Um,
I wish somebody would buy that ISIS Theater
I know.
and create a Stockyards Live there, because it's bigger than Granbury Live is. It holds more people. It's got that upstairs area. Like, I'm
Yeah,
selling it to somebody right now. Like,
yeah. But,
somebody come buy it.
so that would be great. I know when we saw some good concerts there when it was open. Um, they did. We saw some really good concerts
Hmm.
there. And they did, the one with Doug Stone was probably the on that Sunday afternoon with Courtney Patton, and they just set up there, had the couches. Man, that was cool. And that's something you could do with Pearls, talking
Hmm.
about bringing in um, some bigger acts and something like that is Sunday. I know you guys would probably have to juggle some of your lineup.
Dance lessons on
Dance
Sundays
lessons.
from 6 to 8.
So maybe I don't anybody, but having like setting a just doing a how where they kind of tell a story behind the songs and um, that would be a really cool.
I've had an idea for a while, and Rowdy kind of started it in my. He didn't start it, but like him as an artist got me thinking, bringing in like the younger artists that are just killing it like that with someone who's like an older artist, bringing them together to do like a song swap and storytelling, like the new and the old kind of thing. Um, like have him and Jamie Richards come in, or have Matt Daniel and Dale Watson come in, or like it's something that's I've been meaning to talk to Rowdy about and like marinating in my head for a while, like a
So
monthly series or something.
on 20th of November, he's at the Jalapeno with Jamie
With
Richards
Jamie, I may
again.
have to come out
Yeah. So
and pick their brains.
yeah, I mean, and Jamie Richards is a Weatherford guy now,
Hmm.
so yeah, they're pretty good. I think they're pretty good buddies. He played with them a couple years ago, and they did a little song swap at a little place out in Weatherford.
Yeah,
And since then, they've they've done some song swaps and some gone some places.
I think anybody who hangs out with Rowdy for a while
Yeah.
becomes a fan and a friend. Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that'd be awesome. They're always looking for um, like Sundays would be good
yeah,
because they played a couple shows and do something early in the afternoon and just hang out and
yeah. It got me thinking about it because way people describe Pearls is kind of like they feel like there are bars down there that are kind of revamped and they're very current and modern and cool, and they bring in a lot of the new artists that are kind of I, they're country. I know they're in the country vein, but they're like country adjacent. Do you know what I mean
yeah,
by
they're
that? Like
they're they're
southern rock and country rock and country pop, and that's great. People have described us many times like we bridge the old and the new. It's like we're holding on to the old traditions, but we're bringing them into the current day kind of thing. And that's what got me thinking about that because it's kind of how Pearls is, you know?
and then I think another thing with that is um, if you look at some of these newer guys, you know, whether it's Rowdy, but Randall King or Josh Ward, um, some of those guys. There's others I'm drawing blanks on, but those guys especially, they have their roots in that
Scotty Alexander.
Scotty, that 80s and 90s country. The Merle Haggard, Keith Whitley were
Hmm.
big influences on these guys that uh, that are very um, new and young, and
Hmm.
they're you know when you see a picture, or especially when he first started playing, I can remember before I ever saw Rowdy, and you'd see a picture of him, and you're like, man, you're thinking he's going to be not what he is. You're
Right.
judging the you know
Probably
the
age, honestly.
well, it was
Yeah.
age, and then he's got there's just a couple of his old press pictures. I'm just like,
Because I think he'll be 28 in June. Because I think
yeah,
he's 6 months. I remember that because my son's 6 months older than him, my oldest. So like I always know because we always have Rowdy's birthday every year at Pearls.
yeah,
It's always in June. So I think he'll be 28. I mean, he's 27.
I
It's
know.
insane what he's done.
It is, and so, but I can remember some like I said, some of his early press or his early PR photos, and I'm like, if I saw those, I'd be like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
And you're judging the album by the by the cover, not
Yeah.
listening to the music,
There's a
and then
saying about that, isn't
yeah,
there?
there is, and you go in there and you see him, and it's like, he's playing Merle Haggard, and he's playing Keith Whitley, and he's playing 80s and 90s countries, and then he's doing his own stuff, you know, and it's his stuff, but it's in very much in that.
Hmm.
It's got that. I think they call it neoclass. I think the technical
Yeah.
term is neoclassical country. It's and so people that go to Pearls, that they're the OGs.
Hmm.
They've been there going to the stockyards since they grew up there, and they like the the Tommy Hookers and the
Mm-hmm.
Landon Dodds and the guys that have been playing there for forever, they probably wouldn't go see a Rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
But then they were like, but it's at Pearls, and so I'm going to stop in and, uh, you know, I'm going to stop in and have my first or last beer at Pearls before I go
My
out.
$2 Lone Star.
My
They
two,
love to pregame at Pearls on those $2 Lone Stars.
and you got a guy like Rowdy in there, or a young lady like Madison Page, or some of those other folks that we know that have played there. And
The
they're like,
dream team. I love the two of them together.
yes. And it's like, they're like, oh, wow, maybe I'll come next time, or, they may not stay that night, but it plants that seed of,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he plays Green Snakes on the Ceiling, or he plays,
It's
you
what's
know,
happened to Chaser Crouch. Because he's 23 and he's very neoclassic country. Even his original stuff. He's very, like, he reminds me of Rowdy when I first met Rowdy. And that's kind of, nobody knew, I mean, in our area, people knew who Chaser was. He was charting and all that. But he came in and blew everybody away. Because we don't have, it's the same thing. The way we kind of bridge the old and the new, we bridge the age gap. When people ask about our demographic, we don't really have one.
right.
We have the 20 somethings that are into like traditional country dancing. We have all the 30 to 50-year-olds that are like our age. And then we have the OGs that come in their 60s and some in their 70s. Like we cross all these, different, groups. We don't really have a demographic, which is cool.
It is. I mean, that's one of the great vibes about, because there are bars in the stockyards that very much
Have obvious demographics.
demographics, if um,
If you're 70, you're not going to Rhinestone.
no.
Yeah. And if you're 20, you're not going to Rodeo Exchange, probably.
Or to, like, if you're 70, you're going to the Longhorn.
Or the Longhorn,
You're
yeah.
going to the Longhorn because,
That Western swing, man.
they're
That's
playing
good.
Western Swing,
Mhm.
which is great, but, then they have some people, I have a friend that, Ken, he's a big dancer, and we all kind of started at the Longhorn because that was one of the only real country clubs to dance in the stockyards before Pearls. I mean,
There's a difference between a dance hall and a honky tonk.
and yes.
And people that don't understand that haven't been down in it. But it's the difference between like Rodeo Exchange and Pearls. We're both fantastic, but they're a honky tonk and we're a dance hall. And Longhorns, I think, is more of a dance hall as well.
And so, they're like, if you're a dancer, it's very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Even songs that shouldn't be slow are slow because their crowd's 70 plus. And
And the style of dance. Even the traditional dancers, the older couples, they're not spinning and dipping and doing, all the stuff the younger cowboys are doing.
yeah, true. And so, he's like, man, I want to go someplace where they play music with, it's got tempo. He said, I'm not trying to go dance at the senior sitter in the stockyards.
Yeah.
So you see that, and that's a great thing about Pearls is you bring in people that play a wide range of stuff so that everybody can go and enjoy it.
And a great thing about the stockyards, because you could come with multi-generational group of people, and there's something for everyone. You can send the college kids to Rhinestone. You can send, the OGs to, one of the dance halls, and then everybody that's everything else comes to Pearls, basically.
And they dance, I mean, and then you can bounce around,
And then they bounce around, and it's great. And it brings the interesting demographic we have, when we have somebody like, my mind's blank, we have like the Monty Dawson Band, a couple of weeks ago, and he's like the vice president of the Texas Country Music Association. He's an OG, everybody in the industry knows Monty, old school, fantastic band. And all the young people are like, who is this? Like, we've never seen, and I'm like, yeah, Monty's never played here. He's great. Or the vice versa, a new artist comes in and the people that are down there every weekend, like Vicky and Benita, I love them.
Yeah.
I see them every weekend. They're like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, that's Chaser Crouch. Man, he's awesome. And it's kind of one of the special things about Pearls is all the exposure people get to different things. Because I will not box myself in. I just don't play rap. That's my only rule. No rap.
That was funny, though. That was one of the things that the boys were talking about last night. I went and saw Rowdy and Matt Way, Matt Wayne, and they were talking about what they play, and they have a really good mix. But Rowdy's like, hey, we're gonna take a break. He said, usually when you're playing a full band venue, a lot of the venues want you to take a break because they want to be able to play the hip hop on the break set to entertain those. He said, we don't do that, and you guys don't do that. There are bars, you're just like,
we'll throw a little Kid Rock out. That's about as that's about as rappy as we get. Little Jelly Roll sometimes,
But they were talking about, and there are some, you go to some of these venues and it's traditional country. They got live band traditional country, and they go into set music, and it's line dance and R&B, and it's like, how does this?
It feels like, I don't know. It feels to me like it kills the vibe.
It does.
And I also get you have to play to your patrons and what they want. It's just that's our hard line, like Rick. Rick is an LA boy. He's a West Coast boy. When I met him, he was listening to Ice Cube. He was also listening to country, to Johnny Cash. But he likes it. It's not that we're anti. It's just that's not the vibe. That's not the vibe of
your
Pearls.
bar. Yeah, that's not the vibe. It's kind of hard to two-step to
NWA.
Yeah. But as Rowdy says in Dancing Boots, you might be able to.
Yeah. So, you never know.
You never know. I'll have to see if I can get him to add that as a new lyric.
You need to have him to do like a lyric from Boys in the Hood or something. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, well, he
would be the one to do it.
He would.
He'd be like, come on, let's try it.
I was trying to get him to open, how he does his walk-up music. I was like, you need to do, Look Who's Back, Shady's Back.
Yes!
I'm like, look who's back, Rowdy's back. That is
it is kind of perfect.
I'm like, you should do that. And
he just laughs.
He just looked at me and shook his head. I think that's what he was talking about on the podcast when he's like, even you come up with some ideas, and if it don't fit, I won't do it. No.
He always calls me Miss Jan. Miss Jan.
Good people. It's great to be a part of, just
the Rowdy crowd.
The Rowdy crowd and the Pearls family. And it's done our hearts really, really good for my heart to see what you guys have, because Pearls went through a stage. I can remember, again,
had an identity crisis.
They had an identity crisis, and it was selling, every 18 months there would be somebody new in there, and they would try to do something different. And
it was even a Tejano bar twice.
Yeah. And then there was, one, I think it was the group that had it just before you guys did. They were trying to make it a dance club. They played some country, but it was a way more mix. And I'm like, it's knowing your demographic, knowing your market. I'm like, that's not gonna fly up the hill, and it's just not gonna fly in the stockyards, because people don't necessarily want to go to, if they want to go to a club like that, they're going to West 7.
Well, you can't do all the things. Right. I think that can be a big distraction, especially if it's something you haven't done before. Maybe if you're like a bar developer or an entertainment developer, it doesn't happen. But, everybody's got an opinion, and this would be great and that would be great. And I think where sometimes in business, like entertainment businesses, service industry businesses, if you listen to everyone and try to give everyone what they want, you're not going to have any strengths, and you're going to kind of fall apart. You've got to decide what you're not going to do and decide what you are going to do. And the beauty of the stockyards is there are a couple of places that are kind of similar, but you can describe a bar down there and somebody can tell you the name of it, because we all have distinctive personalities. And I think part of that problem was an identity crisis of trying to do all the things. Trying to be a dance hall, but also trying to play current top 40 music, you have to pick a road, and you have to travel it.
Right.
And travel it well,
and I don't think people are specifically going to the Fort Worth Stockyard looking for a dance club.
Right.
It would be great if that's your niche, but I don't think that's what people are going there for. Now, if you're downtown Fort Worth, or you're in Arlington, or Dallas,
for sure,
or something, then yeah, that works. Even in a historic district, but if you're in the stockyards, people aren't going to, like, even if you're a tourist, you're not going to the Fort Worth stockyards and want to go out to a bar that's playing hip hop, that's playing top 40.
Well, and the thing that also that the ones that are really trying to lean into too much hip hop or too much top 40, if you play the wobble one time, they're happy. That you don't need to play 30 minutes of rap or 30 minutes of dance music. Honestly, when you throw out one like poppy dance song, everybody cheers and they get out there, and after a song they want to break, especially because we're a dance hall. Like, people dance most of the night, so they don't want to spend the whole 30 minutes. I think that works better in a place where people aren't really dancing all night. If they're sitting and watching, they want to get up and move for 20 minutes. And I think that's probably why we don't really have people ask for a lot of songs that we won't play or ask for things that we won't do. Except for like 12:30, 1 a.m. on a Saturday night, and the bachelorette party rolls in and they want to hear, the Notorious B.I.G. And we're like, we're not that kind of bar, sorry.
But we'll find something good for you.
But we'll find something. Yeah, and we always do. Luke Bryan always works in a pinch. If you throw some Luke Bryan on to a bachelorette party, they're very happy.
Oh.
And they are our bread and butter at times. The Pedal Saloon down there, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I've seen it, yeah.
It's been great for all of us because we had a group of women came in last night, and every one of them was at least 70 if she was a day. And I thought they were coming in because we had a competition last night, and a lot during like artist showdowns, songwriter showdowns, their family and friends come in. So I think they're rolling in, for one of our artists, and it's like 6:30, almost 7, and they all came in and said hello. I think a couple of them got water and they went to the ladies' room, and then they left, and I said, "Where are they going?" And Rick goes, "They're here for a pedal saloon." And there's like 6 or 7 of them, and I mean, they were like the Golden Girls. And I was like, "On a pedal saloon on a Thursday?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. They're doing a pedal saloon." I was like, "Okay, guess we'll see them back in a little bit."
That's awesome, yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
That's
again, you never know what you're going to get.
And that's the, you never know who you're going to get.
Yeah.
But you do, when you go to you do know what you're going to get, because when you go to Pearls, you're going to get a good time. You're going to get good service.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying the people that are interested, you think everyone that's going to walk in is going to be either authentically wearing boots and hats, and you can tell they wear them every day, or they're dressing up, which is great. I love that, right?
Or they just bought
their first hat. But we get all kinds, and it's great. And I think a lot of that has to do with being at the top of the hill and not being down in the middle. We get, especially like on karaoke night, it's sometimes my favorite night because you never know who's going to roll in the door.
The people watching.
90% of the music is country, and we have great artists that come in, or not artists, but great people that come in and sing. We don't get a lot of like the drunk frat boy screaming the song off key, but we had a guy just roll in, and he was doing like 90s rock and was just like killing it. And we were all just like, you just never know what you're going to get. It's fun. It's definitely, if you're a people watcher, Pearls is a great place to hang out at because we get all kinds. Yeah. But it's been the best thing I've ever done that I never knew I wanted to do. Because I never ever woke up and said, I want to own a bar, or I want to own a dance hall. That never ever happened. But it's the greatest accident that ever happened to me.
And that's, I think, you were saying earlier, it's a calling. It's, you guys are right people to be there, right people to run it. It kind of fell together, the coincidences, right? That there really aren't any. That was just the path you guys were called to. But oftentimes as leaders in leadership in business, that's what happens. It's not like, you didn't set out to do that, but you find what you're good at. You find your niche. And so for you guys, every day is probably a new challenge, which I'm sure in some ways is fun, and in other ways is like, man, I thought we had this licked. I thought we knew what we were doing, and it's like, well, here's a new, and because there's so much in the bar business, there's so many intricacies of, we talked about TABC, like, well, what's your TABC map? So if you're, people wanting to rent the bar for an event. Well, if it's TABC map, they can't bring in outside liquor.
We've
And a
dealt
lot
with
of
that.
and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know that. You know, a lot
Yeah.
of bar, and that's what a lot of bar owners get in trouble is they don't know. So
Well,
they think,
especially down there, just on a small scale, not on an event scale, but even just an individual. Every single day we have an individual walk in with a drink because you're allowed to walk up and
right,
down exchange with
it's
your
an
drinks.
open container
And
district.
that's great, but you can't walk into a bar with an open container. You can't walk into an establishment with an open container that sells alcohol. It's TABC rules. It's not our rule.
Right.
And it happens every day. And that's why we have that giant trash can. So we're like, you can finish it right outside and then come in. And they're always great about it. But yeah. Yeah, those, I mean, rules that I'm still learning, like that you can't be given promotional items. You know, you have to technically pay at least wholesale for them. You still learn because it's the fine print stuff that they don't put it in bold. You know how sometimes you're doing something in bold letters like you must do this. You don't get that. You just kind of there's so many regulations and so many things with the city and the county and the state that every day we're learning something new that we have to post or something we have to,
Can't do, or
yeah.
you know,
And those are the good problems. It's kind of like when we're really busy. Like we had a really huge weekend last weekend and out of character big. I mean, for October's a decent month for us. People think our busy months are the summer and it's not. That's a fallacy.
no, not
Yeah, it's the
Texas.
winter. Yeah,
Right.
in Texas, everybody's outside in the summer. They don't go to the bars really.
Or it's 100 and
Well, or it's too hot.
it's
Yeah.
too hot, and they're not wanting to go walk. If you do go out, those time you go to one bar
Go to a
because,
neighborhood bar because it's around the corner.
or even if you go to the stockyards, you kind of camp out because it's still at
You don't want to walk
9 o'clock at night. It's
Still a
95 degrees, and it's
yeah.
like, well, I don't want to walk all the way up the hill because it's by the time I get up there, I'm going to be sweating, and
And walking up the hill is totally different than walking down the hill.
yes.
As somebody who's done it many times, like we go down the hill to go check somebody out. Somebody's playing somewhere else, or you know, the service industry workers in the stockyards all love us. So all of the bartenders and barbacks and stuff, if they get off work, they come by and say hi, or they come by before shift, or like Kristen at Rhinestone, her dad cooks for all the Rhinestone peeps on Sunday. He reminds me of you. He brings food to them.
Awesome.
He always makes too much, just like you. She's always bringing us plates, and we love that. But it's an interesting place, and everybody down there is great. And even like when we talked about the owners, like not all the owners are on site. They all have great GMs. Like I wasn't knocking,
Right.
owners. It's just that it's a different thing when you are the be all end all because every GM down there technically answers to someone. So if there's a weird situation, they're gonna have to make a call. Like Rick and I don't have anybody to call. If something happens, we're the top of the food chain. But the industry people down there are great.
And that's another talking about going down the hill, and another cool thing about the stockyards is because it is so iconic, it is so historic. There's always you go down to the Cowtown Coliseum down at the Exchange Lawn, and there's almost every Saturday, or sometimes on Friday nights, there's somebody out there playing on one of the stages.
On the stockyard stage, yeah.
So you can go down, and it's a great source for you guys to go down and go, find somebody new or see somebody that you maybe are thinking about booking.
Actually, the TCMA, the Texas Country Music Association, put our November 8th events on their calendar because the TCMAs, the awards, are on Sunday the 9th. So we're actually on the calendar, like our
Awesome.
events, which is really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I know we hadn't been in the past.
Yeah,
So
Linda Wilson, the president of TCMA, she's been amazingly supportive of us, and she's supportive of everything down there. I mean, as a music industry person, she knows if the venues go, these artists have nowhere to play. So
yeah. And so this weekend is what, Red Steagle?
Yes, that is happening this weekend.
So you guys should have a good.
Yeah, and Backwood Shine's playing tonight, and they're one of those bands that they're not young, but they're younger. And Blue Eyed Texan booking, Brandy Hope, she's a goddess. I mean, she is a booking genius. And when she sees someone and she knows they're good, and she just knows it, like, believe her. and she said, you need to bring this band in. I think they would be a great fit. And all of our like older regulars, not older, but like my age, not the young guy, the young kids love them too, but like they've all, like I've got reservations tonight because they're like, Backwood Shine's coming back in. We love them.
Awesome.
I love stuff like that. I love this band that was like playing in like a hole in the wall bar in Aledo, or playing, just random places.
Mhm.
And then now like people are coming to the Fort Worth Stockyards to see them play. It's very cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, it is. And, it really does talk to servant leadership where, yeah, it's, you guys are getting a benefit out of them, but helping them develop that following.
Mm-hmm.
When you first time you brought them in, they didn't have a following.
Right.
They didn't have that following, or they didn't necessarily
have the exposure.
Mm-hmm. Didn't maybe resonate with your crowd. But now your people know them, like, oh yeah, we're going to come back and see them.
Mm-hmm.
Make a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
Which that is a great.
It's very cool to see happen. I love music. I like to sing karaoke. That's about the extent. I played the fiddle when I was a kid. Like that's the extent of I'm a fan. I'm not an artist.
Right.
And Rick's got an amazing ear, but again, he's not an artist. To get to kind of have a front row seat to all of it, it's very like, this is what we do. This is like what we get to do every day. It can be very surreal. Like I'm like reading a list of people that are coming in next month, and I'm thinking like, wow, I forget that people are fans of these people sometimes, and I don't know, it's kind of weird.
No, it's cool.
It's very cool.
It is very cool. So I want to thank you for, I'm going to wrap up because I know you got other things to do. You got, running a business. I thank you for your time. Guys, if you haven't been to Madam Pearl's Dancehall and Saloon, you're missing out. We go see them. It's a fun time, great crowd, great. I would say you guys have not only the best. You got a great bar staff. You probably have the best drink prices.
I would say so.
In the stockyards.
Overall,
yeah.
There may be some place have a certain thing $1 cheaper or right at us, but like overall,
I mean, your specials, you have some of the best drink prices, if not the best drink prices in the stockyards.
We definitely have some of the best drinks with Chris.
Yes.
If you come in and Chris is behind the bar, be ready.
You're gonna have,
because the man's he's a genius.
An artist. Yes.
Yep. Dan's not bad behind the bar either. I've been trying to get him to guest bartend for a while.
Well,
we're gonna have to do that. Seriously.
Yeah, we will. I gotta sit down and do some things. But now that I'm retired, definitely can.
I think it would be fun. Bring him in for an hour and be like, Dan's behind the bar for an hour. Come see him.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be fun. So, yeah, guys, go to Pearls. Go support local music. Again, thank you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thank Rowdy Decker for letting me use Blue Collar as my intro and outro music. He's at rowdydeckermusic.com. You guys are Madam Pearls on Facebook?
We're Madam Pearls Dancehall and Saloon on Facebook, pearlsaloon.com. It'll have our lineup and our calendar. And our calendars, I mean, we've got stuff in January and February already. So if you want to see like long term, that's the best place to go.
Okay.
Yep.
And we'll be there on the 8th for the Brothers Keepers. It's going to be a good time. We got some great auction items, great organization too.
Great food vendors this year.
Awesome.
I've got funnel cakes and corn dogs and
awesome.
mini donuts coming.
Oh, cool.
It's always about the food for us.
Well, yeah.
And the music.
Food
and the music.
So, again, thank you, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to be here.
It was a pleasure.
And we'll have to do it again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.